Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Elite Wrestling World. I am your host GhostSaad. Thank you guys for joining me right here for AEW Dynamite post show review. This is the fallout for Forbidden Door pay-per-view. So plenty of action announced for tonight. MJF defending the World Championship against Mark Briscoe. Also we will have the survival of the fittest match for the vacant TBS title as well. Kevin Knight defending the TNT title against Leo Rush. So plenty of action announced for tonight. Let's get dive into it and talk about that. So Dynamite is live and Excalibur and Nigel McGuinness, Tony Schiavone welcome us as they show exclusive footage of what went down after Forbidden Door. Renee was outside the locker room of Will Ospreay, who walks in with Alex Windsor by his side. Ospreay said words can't describe what it feels like when Moxley steps in as the ladies step away, with Moxley tossing an ice pack to Ospreay, who thanks Moxley for being out there. Despite being filled with carnies and backstabbers, it's up to them to protect and preserve this craft. Moxley told Ospreay to be of service and they took a vote on it, taking out a Death Rider's patch saying if he takes it, you can ride with Moxley anywhere. So Moxley hands the patch to Ospreay and leaves as Ospreay looking at the patch before he walks into Kenny Omega. And Omega said Ospreay has no idea how proud he is. Ospreay cuts him off saying Omega isn't his dad in this situation. He can see Omega looking at the patch saying just because Omega's given up on himself doesn't mean he will. Omega is caught off guard when MJF walks in saying don't mind, it's cute. Omega said he is so funny when in a couple of days if MJF survives Mark Briscoe, guess who's coming to knock on his door? MJF looks past Omega and tells Ospreay he will see him at Wembley. Bruv. Omega says to Ospreay he's always be his friends. Take care of yourself. See you Wednesday. So again, I think so it's a very good segment. We are aligning multiple stories into this segment, and I really like this segment of interaction between Ospreay Omega, MJF Ospreay and MJF Omega as well. So plenty to look forward coming out of this backstage segment. So we're starting out hot with MJF versus Mark Briscoe for the AEW World title. Damn good World title match as Briscoe had plenty of offense to start off this. We get the big introductions from Justin Roberts. MJF orders Justin to say hails from the best coast, the East Coast. Dueling chants from the crowd. MJF fakes a knee injury immediately, suckering Briscoe in with a snap pile driver. Then multiple backdrops and pauses from MJF as well. Briscoe lands on his feet, fired off a series of palm strikes into a crane kick and exploded. MJF spun out of a Jade Rider, snapping the arm down, but Briscoe sent him outside and connected with a tope, setting a chair up back inside and launched off it with a somersault dive. That looks beautiful. MJF spat in Briscoe's face and fired him up. MJF was clotheslined to the floor with Briscoe in hot pursuit. Wanted a Jade Railer on the concrete but took a backdrop instead, and MJF tried a tombstone out there but Briscoe escaped. Briscoe hit the Froggy Board Jade Railer and finally MJF kicked out of the Jade Railer. Briscoe brings MJF up the corner looking for Avalanche Jade Railer, but MJF got the eyes and created distance. Tried to hit a heat seeker, but trade near falls. Briscoe again went for Jade Railer. This time MJF countering into a water wheel drop and hitting the heat seeker for the pinfall victory and retaining the title in a very good title defense. So post-match, MJF put on his Dynamite diamond ring and clobbered Briscoe. MJF told the camera that white trash Hick should have never been in the ring with him. And also then MJF wanted another ring shot before Kenny Omega sprinted to the ring and MJF bailed out. Omega said, isn't MJF filled with piss and vinegar, saying he'd been knocking on MJF's door if he survived Briscoe. All these matches with weapons and cages, maybe MJF has enough energy to have a match with Omega tonight. in California. So then MJF said it's bad enough to had to come to a dumpster like California and declined, saying Omega is dumb enough to think he gets another shot at the Triple B. And he kicked out of the one wicked angel like it was nothing. So if Omega wants a match, you are not a god, you are a fraud, and the answer is no. And he was about to leave, then comes back and said MJF has a great idea. He will wrestle Omega next week under one condition. If MJF wins, the same thing happens to Omega that did to Hangman. Omega will never challenge for the World Championship again. And Omega has until the end of the night to answer the stipulation. Otherwise, the offer is off and he will never get a title shot. So again, very good title defense and a very good setup between MJF and Omega for the championship match next week rather than on Redemption. So I think so it was a very good segment to start off Dynamite. So Renee is backstage with MJF. MJF brings up Andrade and said payback is coming and you won't know when or where, but I will hit like a ton of bricks. MJF runs down the list of guys he's defeated as world champion. Kenny Omega is off to against Big Hebrew as the best wrestler in the world isn't the best bout machine or aerial assassin or calls Omega gutless. Will Ospreay walks in and says MJF is going to break his neck, sucking himself off like that, and asks why the stipulation. So MJF said it's because he's the world champion. He calls the shot and he will see Ospreay's pale ass at Wembley. So again, teasing a match between MJF and Ospreay for the all-in main event. Interesting development with all three guys for the all-in main event. Tony Schiavone introduces Andrade to the stage, brings up him turning on MJF and Don Callis Family at Forbidden Door. Andrade said he's done with the family and it's time to become the new world champion. Andrade has one question, how you know? And Andrade was attacked from behind by the Callis family members, Jake Doyle, Lance Archer, Brian Cage and Kevin Knight. The beating continues in the ring and spiking Andrade with the drill claw by Brian Cage. Callis took the mic and asked Andrade, how you know, cabron, and demands his family get this trash out of his sight. So again, Andrade have to now face all the Don Callis family members and it's going to be interesting feud to follow. Next up is Kevin Knight versus Lio Rush for the TNT title. Though I like the gimmick of Blackheart Lio Rush, but I don't think he has a chance of winning the TNT title in this match. But it was a very good match. Lio Rush bit at the right leg before lighting up Knight with the combo strikes. We saw Jake Doyle drags Knight outside to help him regroup with Callis family. Knight connected with a spinning backbreaker but continued to sell his leg from earlier in the match. Crowd was loudly behind Lio Rush. Spinning Yuzigiri turns Knight inside out as a low bounce back cutter connects for a very close 2 count. Doyle caught Lio Rush diving off the top to the outside but was sent into the guardrail, giving Kevin Knight a chance to drive Lio Rush into the steps, but walked into a pop-up slam and a huge crash landing rock bottom type maneuver to allow Knight the victory and retain the TNT title. So again, a very good showing for Lio Rush. Post-match, Darby's music hit and he walks to the stage, mic in hand, and he wants a TNT title match against Kevin Knight. And if Knight says no, what happened to Forbidden Door will keep happening to Kevin Knight. So Knight started this, how will he finish it? And then Callis pulled the mic away, saying Allen has been a great champion, but the problem is at the pay-per-view, the stunt he pulled nearly killing Knight, he crossed the lines, so there will be no championship match for Darby Allin. Callis screamed that Allen should be in jail, he's a criminal, as his family will protect Knight. But Allen said, so you will see what happens at the pay-per-view will keep happening to Kevin Knight. So it's gonna be interesting to see what lengths Darby Allin will go to get the title match, and I'm pretty much looking forward to that. We get the footage of Jericho tapping out JD Drake on Collision, and Tommaso Ciampa was about to demand Renee about to say he's better than Jericho when a trash can is launched into the camera shot. It's Jericho. They start brawling. Ciampa driving a shopping crate into Jericho, trying to use a drill on him, but Jericho fought free, leaps off the back of loading truck onto Ciampa, and security came in to break them up. So it's gonna happen between Ciampa and Jericho next week on Beach Break. I'm looking forward to this match. It had a great build up from last month as well, so pretty much looking forward to that match as well. Renee heads into the Elite Rocker Room to interrupt the Young Bucks and Omega, asking if he's made a decision. Matt Jackson said two Elite comrades have fallen into this stipulation, while Nick said Omega has got this, he's a gambling man. Omega cuts them off, telling Renee he's not made a decision, saying if he can't challenge again, what's left for him. So Omega looks back on his first reign as champion. He needed help. He went to the dark place to get it done. So if he takes this match, he wants to do this on his own. It's win or lose alone. Bucks support him no matter what he decides. So again, a very good segment for Omega to make his decision by the end of the night. Next up is Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay in tag team action against the Swirl. The Swirl attacked at the bell, chop blocking Moxley and sending Ospreay to the outside. We saw Moxley make tag Ospreay, who took out Johnson on the apron, sent Christian outside with a snap hurricanrana. Ospreay made the hot tag with a double handspring Pele kick. Ospreay shoved Moxley out of the way and took out a springboard from Blake Christian with a cutter in midair. Then Moxley and Ospreay hit stereo paradigm shift and hidden blade to get the pinfall victory. So again, we got Ospreay having the Death Rider patch on his gear as well. So he might have joined the Death Riders completely. So it's an interesting story to follow in the coming weeks as well. We got the post-match comments from Cope and Cage on Sunday at Forbidden Door. Christian said no doubt in his mind were they walking out still tag champions, but what the hell is deal with Jay White? Copeland said he owed him a favor and they are even now. Cage said before White collected a paycheck sitting at home for a year, he had a serious problem with him and still does. So Cage walks out and Cope just said goodbye. So interesting development between Cage and Jay White as well. We hear from returning Switchblade Jay White. Jay White music hits and he's out with the entire Bang Bang gang by his side. White is met with welcome back chants as he says for 59 days they have waited to do a guns up. So lots of things can change in 459 days. When he left, fans wanted struggling to get away from Death Riders. White has been dying to ask this question, who let the dogs out, and said he's talking about Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd and David Finlay. White talked about joining the dojo in New Japan with Finlay in 2015, and he knows Finlay because he's born into this business, 4th generation, 5th generation. It doesn't take away Finlay is still a Nepo baby beach boy. So White said the stench of Finlay's arrogance has lingered far too long in only 4 months in AEW. And White is the most elite, the switchblade, the catalyst of professional wrestling, and no one's got what he's got. Sunday was just the beginning. Finlay will run to breathe in the switchblade era. If you weren't down with that, we got 2 words for your guns up. So again, a very good promo by Jay White. Pretty much looking forward to the feud between Bang Bang Gang and the Dogs. It's gonna be a fantastic feud. Next up is the survival of the fittest match for the vacant TBS title. Kris Statlander, Hikaru Shida, Persephone, Maika, Harley Cameron and Queen Aminata. So this was for the first time on AEW television and it was quite good to see this kind of match. We started off with all the ladies hitting their big moves. Shida faking a dive of the second into an eye poke and roll up on Persephone for a 2 count. We saw stereo corner strikes as Cameron pauses, allowing Persephone to sneak up behind and hit a razor's edge on her to steal the pin. So Harley eliminated Aminata with the chocolate kisses on Statlander. We saw Maika jumps in and suplex Aminata onto Shida. With no one left, Stat and Maika starts slugging it out until Shida clogs Statlander with her kendo stick. Shida was able to get a rolling high stack on Maika to eliminate her. Tried to pulling Shida to a pin, Persephone rolled her up for a flash pin and stunning Aminata and eliminating Queen. Statlander rolling up Persephone for the flash pin, and the crowd were pissed yet again as Persephone got eliminated. Shida grabbed the TBS title, wanted to use it, but Statlander ducked him with a big boot. Statlander crawled to the apron where Persephone clobbered her unconscious with the TBS title, allowing Shida to pull Statlander back to the middle of the ring. And the referee called the match as Statlander passed out. So Shida is the new TBS champion. I was looking for Aminata or Persephone to win this title, but they got Shida. So it's a shocking victory, but it will be interesting to see who she will defend the title against. I am looking forward to a feud between Statlander and Hikaru Shida for the TBS title as well. So looking forward to that feud as well. These two ladies have a great chemistry. So it's about time for Omega to announce his decision. Omega was about to make his entrance when he is cut off by Will, saying he wants to wrestle Omega at Wembley, questioning if Omega thinks this is a good decision. Omega asked if Ospreay thinks he can't do it. Ospreay said he does believe in Omega, he can do it. So Omega said this is his death ground and he will go out guns blazing. Hopefully he has Ospreay's spot. Ospreay said he always have his spot, and they hugged before Omega went to the ring to give his answer. Omega makes his entrance and said he's done this over half his life. There's been no great pleasure than to give the fans all he has. Whether he is 14-year-old boy or 42-year-old broken man, he always gave these fans 100% of Kenny Omega every single time. Omega has won titles, broke records, and he has a career he could hang his hat on and look back on fondly. Part of Omega believes if Ospreay and Bucks and the people believe just one more time, he knows he can be a champion everyone can be proud of and stand on the greatest stage for All In at Wembley Stadium. So is the cost simply too high for this challenge? The answer is no. You want him to put it on the line. There's a possibility MJF hasn't considered that Omega is still the best bout machine, the cleaner, the god of pro wrestling. Omega can't lie. To have one more chance to beat the brakes of MJF, it gets the blood flowing. So the answer to MJF challenge is yes. Next week, bring the Triple B, bring yourself, get ready to pass over what's rightfully his, and Omega is coming prepared. So until then, I must bid you goodbye, good night, and bang. Right on cue, Omega gets decked by MJF from behind. MJF puts on the Dynamite diamond ring, looks to charge, but Omega shot a double leg, and the fight is on briefly until security and officials rush to the ring to separate them both. Omega breaks free first. MJF then, who screams he is the best in the world. We are told it's official. Omega MJF next week for the world title at Beach Break. If Omega loses, he will never get a title shot again. They brawled again, and this time got separated from by the security and the officials as well. So it's gonna happen next week on Dynamite Beach Break. Omega versus MJF for the world title. Pretty much looking forward to that match. It's gonna be a huge match on free TV. I was thinking that this could happen at Redemption, but they are doing it next week on Dynamite. So it will be interesting to see what is the result gonna be for this match. Omega wins or MJF retains. What will be the direction of both these heading into All In or heading into Redemption as well. So interesting stories developing, and pretty much looking forward to next week's Dynamite Beach Break as well. We also get the confirmation of Women's Casino Gauntlet match happening next week on Beach Break. where the winner will get the title shot against Tekla at Redemption. So loaded card for Beach Break setup. So pretty much looking forward to next week's Beach Break Dynamite edition. It's gonna be a fantastic show on free TV. So that's the end of the show, folks. Please guys, like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and keep watching Elite Wrestling World.